Hello. The job for today is to pot up these plants. Well, not the leeks and onions, but those need to be potted up. These aubergines really need to be potted up, and same with these brassicas. Bit of a disaster here. These pumpkins are getting a bit long, so I just sort of draped them over the edge, and I managed to catch one, and it snapped. I mean, that's no good. Don't think that's going to live. The trouble with some of these sunflowers is that they've got a bit leggy as they've been in the windowsill at home, and they're a bit like that one. If I can get it out without breaking it. It's kind of a bit wonky, so I don't know how that's going to cope, but we'll see how it goes.
We need some compost for potting up the plants. Fortunately, there is a big compost bin on the plot, but the best stuff is at the bottom, so I need to dig out the compost and sieve it to get some good compost. Unfortunately, the whole bin is riddled with bindweed roots, which makes things harder.
Clearing out some of this bags of fertilizer and all sorts that's been sitting here for years, and just to show you an idea of how old some of the stuff in here is. If you look, this box, it's got the black and white minstrels on it. That's going back a bit. Good grief. I'm using the compost from this end, which is quite well broken down. Unfortunately, it's got bindweed in it, so I have to be careful with that. There are bindweed in the spot anyway, so I'm not going to be introducing it somewhere where there isn't any. It's good compost. I mean, it's not the sort of finished compost that you'd get in the bags from the shops, but it's good enough. And I'm just sieving it out. And it's quite good compost, but there are bits in there that are a bit rough. You know, like, I don't know, shell or something. Looks like a walnut shell or something. So it's not perfect. Sieving out the smaller pieces and then just going through by hand. I mean, that's bindweed, so that's going to go. And any sticks is going into this container, which is going to go into the compost. And of course, I'm not going to put bindweed in the compost, so that goes in the bin. So once I've done that, then I can use it. I wouldn't obviously put seeds in it, but it'd be alright for potting up plants. Once I've sifted that compost, it's absolutely beautiful stuff. Really good stuff. Yesterday was really hot, so when I left that top window open and the other window open. I didn't want the brassicas to get scorched, so I left all the windows open thinking it'll just keep things cool for them. And of course we had the really cold weather. The tomatoes are okay, but the aubergines certainly look a bit worse for wear, so hopefully they're in a nice sunny spot and they'll pick up during the day, but they look a bit not happy. But fortunately I've got backups at home, so if these die off, it's not the end of the world, but I won't have many to give away, but we'll see what happens to these. Those aubergines have fortunately picked up a bit. That one still looks a little bit, but the others seem to have recovered more or less. I mean, they're still a bit crinkly, but I think but once the heat has hit them, they're starting to pick up, so they didn't die off. Even these two runts are doing okay. They're picking up. Right, I'm going to put my indoor peas, early peas, in this bucket. So it's quite a deep bucket, but it's the only big one I've got. Right, I've planted 6 in this big pot because I don't want to overdo it, because obviously at this time of year sunlight is still not as strong as it is in summer. So I've got 13 plants and couldn't fit them all into one pot, so split them between 2 pots. Now to put the canes in.
These pots will need to go on the ground, so I need to sort out the tray to go under them first.
I'm going to copy Tony's technique, where he's built these trays out of wood and boards underneath, and then lined it with plastic. Now I found this piece of shelving, I don't know what it was off, but it was here, So I'm going to line that with a compost bag, and that will be a tray to sit onto these big pots. Right, so I'm just going to cut along where the seam was. Okay, and now we've got this spread out lengthways. I've got some clothes pegs and they will just fit there nicely, so when I put the compost bag over the top of this, these will hold it in place. Just put the clothes pegs to hold it in place. And here we have a homemade tray to go under the pots. Before I stake up the peas, I'm going to put some beetroot in the middle, so they'll be ready about the time that the peas will be finished. So I can pull the peas out and then the beetroot can finish off, and then I can get an early crop of beetroots as well. I've got some beetroot that I put into modules, so this is what I'm going to be putting into the pots. Right, I've planted the beetroot in. We'll see how it goes. It's just an experiment to see how it works. So I've got two types of beetroot. I've got Boltardi in this one, and I'll put the Cylindra. I've only got about 4 of those that came up, so it's not been a good germination rate for that one. So I'll try those in the other pot. That's the Cylindra beetroot put in. We'll see how those turn out. So we'll put the stake in next to each of these peas. Okay, now these are quite a bit taller than I'd have liked, but I either had really short ones or really long ones, so they're a bit bigger than the peas really need, but I'll have to use what I've got. Now at the moment these are all going straight up, but peas really need to be at an angle. So what I'm going to do is put a bucket to hold these together. Okay, so that is going to keep the stakes slanted a little bit, and that will help the peas cling on. Saves buying those expensive plastic doobry things, and it's easier than mucking about with bits of twine and things. So there we go, that's that one done. Okay, so that's those two done. Now the reason one is a square, one's round, it's just those were the two pots that were handy, the right size. So all I've got to do now, take the pea and make it wrap round, and I might just need to tie them up just to start them off, and then they'll be fine. I've just sort of got it started climbing up the pole, and once it gets going the peas hold on to the poles and to each other and climb up. Obviously these aren't going to go all the way up, but I'll be fine. It seems like a lot of work for a few peas, but if I can get an early crop of Monge 2, I'll be happy with that.